up, guys? It's Wolverine, Death Machine, Mr. GMSI himself, Brian Cage, and you're watching True Hill Heat. Who better? Nobody.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Rampage Wrap-Up number 7, where we will be talking about AEW Rampage that happened on June 5th. June 5th. Where am I going? Going crazy. We're in a time machine. We're not in a time machine. We're in August. August 5th, and Battle of the Belts 3 that happened last night. This was a combo of shows that were really well made. They did have some misses, but we're going to talk about all of that. But before we talk about that, before we get into that, I want to thank you guys for subscribing. If you are not already subscribed, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, to our Twitch channel. We have a Patreon. $3 a month is the entry-level tier. You get access to so much more than we're able to show on YouTube or Twitch, like our current series that's going on, J News Japan. He's got a huge focus right now on the G1, and the G1 is heating up. Jonah and Okada had an amazing match, but that is the G1, and a lot of people were upset that some people weren't in the G1 from AEW, but here we are to talk about Battle of the Belts and talk about why a lot of those names weren't in the G1. It's because they're here. They're on Rampage. They're on Battle of the Belts. They're on Dynamite. They're putting on great shows for you guys the same way that we do. So hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe if you have not already. And all right, let's get straight into it, because Rampage started off with a bang. It started off with Mance Warner taking on AEW Interim World Champion Jon Moxley. This match is happening because Mance won a bunkhouse battle royale brawl kind of thing. I didn't watch from the Ric Flair last match, but one thing that just, before this match even gets started is really cool is that AEW goes above and beyond to acknowledge things that happen in other companies, and they talk about how Mance has kind of earned this match. And Mance Warner is somebody that Tony Khan has talked about in the past and kind of wants to have on AEW programming. So if this is a way to jumpstart that process, well done. Well done for everybody involved. And well done for these two guys in this match. This was an incredibly hard-hitting affair that started before the bell rang, when Moxley rolled out of the ring to attack Mance as he was making his entrance. They continued in the ring, and the pace just kind of picked up from there. These were hard-hitting physical strikes between two men. If people don't know who Mance Warner is or didn't know beforehand, they know now, because he was taking the fight to Moxley, and Moxley had to really, really dig deep in order to beat this guy. There was some cool spots on the outside, like this move onto the steps. They had a lot of physicality, like I was saying, and that's something that's kind of been a hallmark of Jon Moxley ever since he's come from WWE to AEW, and this match did not disappoint. I really enjoyed this one. And what I liked about it also is the referee stoppage. And that's something that has kind of started to creep up in AEW matches, I've noticed. And they are doing a little bit more of these ref stoppages. And I think that's really cool. It just adds a different way to end a match. And sometimes, we talk about ref stoppages as a way to protect an opponent. They didn't actually tap out. They didn't actually get pinned. It was the ref that saved them. But one thing that I would say is that while we are seeing an uptick of these, I wouldn't want AEW to rely on them too much, because you should have pinfalls, you should have submissions. That's one of the things that AEW prides itself on. And as a way to protect an opponent, it works. But if you overuse it, it stops being a way to protect somebody, and it just becomes a regular kind of finish to a match. After this, we have Ricky Starks talking to QT Marshall and the rest of the factory. The factory are trying to get Ricky Starks to join the factory now that he is no longer with Team Taz, which dissolved quite recently on Dynamite. and try to help him deal with his problems with Powerhouse Hobbs. Starks is wary of QT Marshall, and for good reason, because nobody really attached to QT Marshall has had a lot of success. Aaron Solo, who is one of Starks' former tag team partners when they were on the Indies, is part of the factory, and they have a conversation where Solo is bringing up the fact that Starks really always looks out for himself and is really all about himself, but with the factory, they'll have his back, and Starks really doesn't seem that enthused or that interested in joining the factory. I think, well, I mean, for starters, if you just got out of a faction, you may not want to jump into one, but also, I mean, what is the factory really going to be able to offer a guy like Ricky Starks? Pretty much everybody in that group can get destroyed by Powerhouse Hobbs. I mean, Nick Camarado, who would probably stand the best chance, has had matches with Powerhouse Hobbs where he has gotten destroyed. So Starks looking out for himself. Sometimes strength is not in numbers, and that's maybe the case here for Starks. Next, we have Konosuke Takeshita taking on Ryan Nemeth, and this is a glorified squash match. This is something that I would have expected to see on Dark or Elevation, but I understand why this kind of match is happening, because Takeshita has the match the very next night against Claudio for the ROH Championship, so it just keeps him kind of fresh, gives him momentum going into the match. This is under a 2-minute match, so I'm not going to spend that much time on it other than to say that Takeshita is absolutely phenomenal, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit later. After this, we have a quick segment with the best friends talking about how they are interested in going after the Trios Championship, and Dr. Danhausen shows up, maybe potentially stealing some shine from Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Maybe she's going to do a little gimmick infringement lawsuit against him. She might get smart Mark Sterling. But what's going on, guys, in the chat? We love to have all of our comments. We love to have our interactions with you guys. Frantic World, D My Boy Blue. It's great to talk to y'all, guys. We're here talking about AEW Rampage and Battle of the Belts, and that takes us to kind of what Rampage should be. And Rampage should be a way to highlight and spotlight up-and-coming people. That's supposed to be what Dark Elevation is, but Elevation is just squash matches. That's sort of what Dark is supposed to be, but we know that there are at least some eyeballs on Rampage compared to Dark and Elevation, besides my 4 eyeballs. So here we have the debuting Madison Rayne, who was recently signed to be a coach and a backstage personnel kind of person. I'm not sure if she's going to be doing a lot of in-ring work, but I mean, they're kicking her off with a match here, but this is going to be a way to get her acclimated and get her into the flow of things. And she's taking on baddie wannabe Laila Gray in this match. Now, this match was a bit of a letdown for me. This is one of the ones I chalk up to being a miss. I was talking about earlier. There are some hits, there were some misses, as with all shows, and this was kind of a miss for me, because Madison Rayne is I would say she's a very well established veteran. She's never been this kind of world beater talent, but she is an established veteran, and Laila Gray really highlighted why AEW needs more coaches in the women's division. Serena Deeb is doing a great job as a coach. She has definitely helped bring up the talent level, but at the same time, this match kind of highlighted that. There were a lot of missed communications, a lot of not missed spots, but just missed opportunities. And you could see that Madison was trying her best to work with Laila, and Laila Gray is not a brand new talent off the streets. She does have some experience behind her, but this was definitely not a match that highlighted her strengths. And I would go as far to say it wasn't really a match that highlighted Madison's strengths either, which kind of is a missed opportunity considering this is her AEW debut. One other thing that I wanted to note about this is that we have people like, yes, Chase Oliver, she is a killer queen. That I was expecting that, not expecting that song, but I knew they weren't going to have that song. But as soon as she came out, like, that's what I heard in my head. But I did like that the Titantron, or whatever the AEW Tron we'll call it, does have the tiara, the crown, and part of her entrance is her putting on a crown. One other thing that I want to note is it just reminds me when we see the work that has to go on in the AEW women's division, the comments by Tony Khan that we don't sign people who need development, we sign people who are at the top of their game or close to it. And sometimes when you see how the women's division is booked and some of the talent that they have that they're trying to clearly develop, it's like, hey Tony, you gotta calm down about that. But after Madison Rayne gets the win, we see somebody who, if she was developmental, is skyrocketing when it comes to in-ring talent and charisma. We see our TBS champion, Jade Cargill. Jade comes out to let everybody know that there seems to be somebody trying to make a name for herself in AEW with this debut, but she's not going to have it. And she reminds Madison that there is an open challenge for the TBS championship, and she would love for Madison to accept that invitation. And before we can talk about that match that basically gets made official, let's talk about a guy who has accepted an invitation to join me here on the stream, and that is the True Draw, Josh. Josh, how are you doing today?
Ooh, accepted an invitation. I work here.
I don't have Romeo's trumpet video, but we'll just imagine that was played. I wanted to get your thoughts before we go forward on the Moxley Mance Warner match, and Takeshita Ryan Nemeth, that was basically a squash. But then the Madison Rayne and Laila Gray match.
Madison. It was more so just letting them know that Madison Rayne was with AEW now. Match itself, it was pretty decent. Nothing too special, nothing too crazy, but I guess Madison Rayne is just gonna get fed to Cargill. So
yeah, because she is. We get the news during Battle of the Belts that she does accept she accepts the open challenge, but she answers the open challenge to be Jade's opponent next week on Dynamite. But what did you think about Mance Warner and Moxley?
That was actually pretty good. I thought both guys worked well together. If a lot of people don't know Warner, they definitely gotta check out his work. I know he gets what was that comparison people were comparing him to recently? I'm trying to remember who, but I was like, that was like way off. Like I think he gets compared to like Austin or somebody else, and he got compared to Kingston. I'm like, what? I don't get nothing. They're like, oh, he's like Eddie Kingston from the South, and I'm like, nah. I do not get those vibes at all. I think really Warner. Yeah. It's I was like trying to figure out. I was like, what do they see? Warner's he's become mostly a deathmatch guy the last couple of years. Kingston never even worked those kind of really matches. So, that's just me. Just because I followed the guy, I did not get that connection at all. And I know the whole beer drinking thing, I know people like brought up Stone Cold, but even with that, it's not really the same. It's just a different niche of somebody drinking beer. And I think he does very well at it, because I think in the indie scene, he was just like he was in one of those situations where he was just trying to figure out what he was gonna do, like with his gimmick and everything, and then he figured it out. He found a way to that'll draw people attention, and that's what he did, and that's what he's been doing. And I think I don't know if he eventually gets signed by AEW, but it wouldn't be a bad signing in my opinion.
Yeah, he's somebody that does offer a lot when it comes to that brawling style. I can definitely see why people would say he's a Kingston from the South, but to me, he's way more of a Briscoe, if anything, than
yes, yes. I get more Briscoe vibes more than anything. I get way more Briscoe vibes than like Eddie vibes.
Like that could easily be a trio that challenges for those ROH 6-mans.
To dig.
But finally, guys, in our main event, we have the AEW Tag Team Champions Swerve in Our Glory taking on Josh Woods and Tony Nese in a street fight. And Mark Sterling's there for the ride too. But this is a match that kind of it started off a little slow to me, even though it was, you know, almost immediately into that street fight aspect. But it picked up after that. We had a nice stare down between the two big men of the respective groups. What I liked about this this pairing of Nese and Woods is that they do kind of complement each other's style very well. They are both technical wrestlers, but they do have power as well. And Woods has the power to kind of go with somebody like a Keith Lee, and that's going to play a factor in this match later. We have some funny moments where Nese is playing around with the protein powder. He throws it in Lee's eyes, and that's going to be a factor throughout this match. Keith is going to have to get some water from a fan to rinse it out. But Josh Woods really gets a chance to shine in this match, and he does that, really taking the fight to Swerve. And Swerve's kind of having to take on two people at once, in a sense, because Lee is really out of the match because it's hard for him to see. And I feel like that's going to be one of the storylines of Swerve and Our Glory as a tag team and as their run as champions. It's really going to be a lot of Swerve fending off people as Keith Lee has to recover, because targeting the big guy of the team is usually the smartest and most logical move. But throughout the course of this match, we see tables get introduced. We see trash cans. We see Swerve going through a trash can wedged in the corner. There is a moment where Mark Sterling connects with Keith Lee with a chair shot, thinking he's done a lot. But Lee's just like, no, I don't think that's going to work out for you the way you think it is going to. And Mark ends up going through a table, because that's what's going to happen when you mess with Swerve and Our Glory. And one of the coolest spots of this match was this table spot where Josh Woods was trying desperately over and over and over again to suplex Lee through these two tables, and he just could not. And Swerve was trying to run interference, and it did not work out too well for Swerve, because Nese takes out Swerve and then with a super kick helps Woods get Lee through both of these tables. However, Swerve is going to be able to pull out a gutsy win for the team and win this street fight. I thought this was hey, it's Prince. What's going on, Prince? I thought this was a really good match. I can see why it wasn't a title match, and because it just didn't rise to the occasion of these guys getting a title match. But I can see street fight aspect. And one of the things that was really cool in the pre-match conversation with Mark Henry, who keeps getting sidelined every week more and more just for his one catchphrase, was that Swerve was saying, you know, we can't wait to beat you guys, and then faced an actual ranked tag team. So I thought this was a good match. I thought this was yeah, that protein powder spot was absolutely hilarious. Nese is just chucking the protein powder down his face after getting it in Lee's eyes, and then Swerve just knocks the entire bottle into Nese's face. But I thought this was a good match and a really great main event. What did you think about it, Josh?
Yeah, it was a good main event. Showcase Woods. I think this was probably a scenario where he's probably going to get eventually re-signed by Ring of Honor, hopefully. So I think that's what it was, at least to me, just because, you know, when he dropped the title, not much has been going on for him since then. So yeah, I thought it was a good match. I thought all the guys worked well together. I liked what they did with Keith Lee. Pretty much trying to take him out as being a factor during the match, but then also that spot with the freaking suplex on the tables, that was a pretty good spot as well. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good main event.
And before we get to Battle of the Belts, I think our Jericho Rampage Face award goes to either Sterling, or for going through that table like an idiot, or Nice for getting the protein powder chucked in his face. Do you have any other nominations for our Jericho Rampage Face Award of the week?
Nah, I think that's fair. I think I'll go with that. That's pretty fair.
And ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to Battle of the Belts. This is the Battle of the Belts 3. It is a Saturday night event that is put on TNT once a quarter, and it's all about championship defenses. And here we're going to see 3 title matches. We have Wardlow taking on Jay Lethal for the TNT Championship. We have Thunderosa defending against Jamie Hayter. And in our main event, we have Claudio Castagnoli defending against the rising star of Konosuke Takeshita. So, guys, let's get straight into it. This match, or this show, started off with Wardlow taking on Lethal, and man, they really started right out the gate. This was compared to the other 2 matches, it moved quickly. But those matches had a lot more meat on the bone. They were given more time. This one went just under 7.5 minutes. But in that time, they really did a good job of getting Wardlow over as an incredibly strong and powerful champion. And one thing that I really liked about this match was that the interference, while there, didn't seem to distract Wardlow as much as it could have otherwise. He seems to be showing that he is a capable and qualified champion, and he's willing to take the fight to whoever steps in front of him. After he gets the win over Jay, because Jay keeps trying to avoid that powerbomb symphony, but it only took one powerbomb to pin Jay Lethal. But after that, we have Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt getting into the ring, beaten down on Wardlow. They tease Wardlow being able to, Wardlow cold clock Lethal with that wind-up lariat. He knocked him the fuck out. They teased the feat of strength of Wardlow, of despite everything that's happening to him, being beaten up in the match and being beaten up afterwards, he has the strength and the wherewithal to be able to lift Satnam Singh's leg up off of his throat. But then Jay Lethal comes in and Sanjay Dutt come in, and as you can see, they have the figure 4 wrapped on Wardlow's leg. They have Satnam Singh with the pressure, applying pressure to the neck, and then Sanjay Dutt's just there to yell at him. And after that, they all pose with Lethal holding that TNT championship. So it looks to me as though this is going to be a feud that continues for a little while. And I like that in that it is somebody that is a really, really established veteran in Jay Lethal, arguably one of the greatest veterans that AEW has on the roster. And his level of experience and his level of knowledge when it comes to wrestling is almost unparalleled. And having somebody like him in the ring with Wardlow for a longer feud really makes sense to me, and really is going to help Wardlow learn just more and more. You know, Wardlow's learning tree has been pretty incredible. He learned under MJF and Tully and FTR and the Pinnacle and Shawn Spears, and now he's going to be in the ring with people like Jay Lethal. This is a really great path for somebody like Wardlow as he continues to move up the ranks of wrestlers in AEW. Josh, what did you think about this one?
It was a good match. Yeah, I enjoyed it for an opener. Probably this is something I would have loved to see on Dynamite. There's at least 2 matches I would have loved to see on Dynamite on this one. But yeah, it was really good. I think if they keep Wardlow like this, I think he'll end up being fine. Just because the way he got the title, I wasn't too thrilled how he got the title. And then I think right after that, he faced Orange Cassidy, which I don't think that kind of helped his situation. But I think if he, if they kind of put him in a situation like this where, where there's a guy that he's going to beat, and then he looks good while doing so and looks credible, I think he'll end up being fine.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny to see Wardlow shift from kind of the bully of the playground to the protector of the playground, but I don't know if that's necessarily a storyline for him that works. Like to your point, the Orange Cassidy match, while good, wasn't the kind of opponent that you kind of want for Wardlow. You want him in the ring with somebody like a Lethal, who is going to be able to just help him learn more and more about how to work a crowd and how to really sell. Because if you're going to be a monster babyface, you also have to be able to sell very well to show and kind of give some indication that you might lose this match. That's something that he's going to have to learn, and being in there with Lethal is somebody that can really teach him that. Chase says Wardlow throwing Singh through a table is going to be satisfying. Yeah, liking Wardlow being in this feud. Just stop saying it's Wardlow's world and he's fine.
Being satisfying? You sure about that? I don't know about that one. I have no care for the guy, so him going through whatever.
She's 1 in a billion. Come on.
I don't care. Like, what is that really gonna do? You know what I mean? Like,
every time Wardlow says it's Wardlow or welcome to Wardlow's world or it's Wardlow's world, I think of I can't remember the name of it, but it was like I think it was called Bobby's World. It was that cartoon that started with the kid on his shirt. Like, that's what I think of every time he says it. I'm like, you gotta stop doing that, man.
He gotta find something better than that too, because I'm like, I mean, I'm not too thrilled about that term.
Yeah. One thing I'm sure you're going to be thrilled about was this next match, and that's where Thunderosa is defending the AEW.
I mean, it's your opinion. I'm just saying it's a bad one, but that's another story that's a different story for another day.
Because we are talking about Thunderosa defending the AEW. Wardlow's World should be a trios if he keeps it. I don't think he's anywhere near deserving of having a faction just yet. And if he was in a trio named Wardlow's World, he would be the
not only that, but technically he was in a faction, and I'm like, I don't want to see him thrown into another one right now. I think he needs the single. He needs a single run. I think he'll be fine. Now, if he becomes like a top-notch heel, then I would say maybe you build off of that for another stable, but he doesn't need it right now.
Yeah. Somebody who has a really great stable is Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and here we see one of her proteges, well, I guess we could call her a protege, of Jamie Hayter, trying to wrest that AEW Women's Championship from the hands of Thunderosa. And this match, it started off fast to me in that Hayter knew what she had to do. She really had to take the fight to Thunderosa. And Thunderosa is somebody who is really good when she's telling the story of somebody weathering the storm and finding ways to, no pun intended, weathering the storm, but finding ways to avoid getting taken out quickly and finding just those ways to jab back, body shots here and there to get back her momentum in a match. And throwing drop kicks is a great, great way to do it. And throughout the course of this match, Britt Baker and Rebel are both going to get involved. And it's kind of that long story of Rosa and DMD. It's almost the Joker and Batman. I think we're destined to do this forever. But we see the match go to the outside, and Hayter just hits a wicked, wicked backbreaker on the steps that really knocks Rosa out for a bit of it. But Rosa's going to be able to come back and kind of give Jamie her just desserts.
Ooh,
yeah,
the reason why I'm saying that is because I think she actually did get injured, Hayter.
Yeah, so. Yeah, Hayter does get injured during this match. We find out later. Britt is involved, like I was saying. Rebel's involved, like I was saying. But to me, I think the finish of the match was a little not what they planned, because it looked to me as though Hayter was supposed to kick out, but I don't know if she could or couldn't, speaking to that injury. But there, right after the bell rang and the ref's like, yeah, this was 3. There was this moment where Rosa, like, wait a minute, that, like, you could see like a brief look on her face, like that was not supposed to happen this way. And it felt as though it was supposed to go a little bit further, but it did not, because Thunderosa retained the AEW Women's Championship in 11 minutes and 31 seconds over Hayter. Hayter looked great during this match and really is building momentum as to why she should maybe get a little distance between herself and Britt Baker, and kind of maybe go on a little bit more of a singles run solo by herself. Same case as Wardlow. And you, my boy Blue, with a super chat. Y'all aren't as pretty as Stephanie and Christy, but it's always nice to spend the morning relaxing.
I am. I am. I don't know what he's talking about.
You're not gonna be able to stop Josh's confidence. That's for sure. And Josh, I want to ask you your confidence in Hayter going forward and how she's been developing under Britt, and your overall thoughts on this match.
I mean, I thought she's been getting better. I thought this was a good spot for her, just because, like, if they end up splitting, you want to make it something credible, like what I was talking about a while ago. Like, I'm like, hey, like, if this is something that they have a blow off match, right? It's something that I think that would be decent for like All Out or something, just to have another women's match.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you want something in the prime spot like that, you have to find a way to build on Hayter. How they're gonna do that, I have no idea. But yeah, so in the match she actually did break her nose, just because the reason why I know this is because she was actually supposed to do a convention appearance yesterday, and the vendor that had her booked, he was in contact with her. So originally she was gonna show up late because she had the show last night. On Friday. And what ends up happening is that after the recording, I guess like after the recording of the show, he posted up a Facebook status letting everyone know that she's not going to be able to make it because she broke her nose during the match. So that's how I actually know ahead of time, oh shit, she actually broke her nose. So so she missed her appearance.
I wonder if it happened here during
this. I mean, I ain't wondering. I think it did happen there.
Because Rosa really, really socked her with that.
Yeah, and I don't think it was, like I said, I don't think it was, it clearly didn't look intentional, just in case if people want to shit on Thunderosa. It didn't look intentional. Something that happened really fast. Unfortunately, it does happen, especially in the spot like that. Hayter really couldn't protect herself. Unfortunately, things like this happen, but she was in good spirits, at least. Like, he said that she was fine for the most part. She's in good spirits, but usually when something like that happens, they can't travel until for a few hours. So she unfortunately she did miss her appearance for yesterday. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I'm wondering though, if she has broken her nose, what her availability will be for All Out, which is about a month away. That'll be something to monitor.
I mean, it depends on usually broken nose, you can still work around it. So yeah. I don't think it's I don't think it's like a big issue. At most she'll have to wear like the guard, the protector. So I think she'll be fine. I think from what the guy said, she was fine. It was just a matter of protocol that she just couldn't travel.
Yeah, Chase is right. It's wrestling. People are going to get hurt. In the words of JR, the Saint Ballet. And something else that it's definitely looked like it hurt was hope hitter broke. Good. I broke my nose in high school and it sucked. Yeah, well, these things happen. But one thing I'm sure was hurting for both of the guys after this match was the main event of Battle of the Belts, where we see Claudio Castagnoli defending the ROH World Championship against Konosuke Takeshita. And man, this match was incredible. It goes just 1 second under 20 minutes long, and these guys worked and earned every single moment of this match. This started off with Claudio doing his, now kind of classic routine of running and trying to hit that uppercut as soon as the bell rings, and Takeshita showing that he has studied tape and he has been watching Claudio, and he avoids the hit, and this match already seems cerebral from the start of it. And that's one thing that has been really cool about watching Takeshita grow and develop in front of our eyes, has been seeing that he is a very cerebral wrestler. He knows how to target body parts. He knows how to go after people. But Claudio is no slouch in that department either. And as this match develops, we are going to see Takeshita dealing with a bit of a back problem. It's going to be really exacerbated by by going to the outside. But this incredible monkey flip is probably what started him down the path of having some back pain in this match. There were some great chain wrestling moments that led up to this monkey flip, and it really showcased why Claudio is considered an incredible technical wrestler and why Takeshita is shooting up the ranks of technical wrestling.
But he's one of the strongest people in the business. Like, just his raw power is like ridiculous. Like the shit he could do.
We're gonna see it in this match from both of these guys. Claudio is upping the physicality once he realizes that Takeshita's back is injured, and he's gonna be targeting that back over and over and over again, locking on Scorpion Death Blocks to try to get Takeshita to tap out, going after that back with different suplexes and off the middle rope here, this gut wrench. And the match is going to continue. Takeshita will not give up. He will not die. He will not say no, even when he is coming off of the ropes and catching a really incredible uppercut. Because throughout the course of the match, another kind of subplot of this story was Takeshita trying to avoid the uppercut. From as soon as the bell rang, throughout the course of this match, he knows what Claudio likes to go to. He knows what works for Claudio, the well that Claudio has reached into to win matches, and he knows he has to avoid it. But here, he cannot. He just cannot avoid this uppercut whatsoever. And the match has some incredible near falls. Definitely get a chance to check this one out if you have not already. But Claudio finally picks up the win right before 20 minutes. Like I said, this match was really deserving of being a main event. It was deserving of the spot it got, and I'm glad that, I know that you said 2 matches you wanted to see on Dynamite. I have a feeling this is the other one that you were talking about, but I am glad that they did put this on Battle of the Belts, because it's giving more reason for Battle of the Belts to exist. Some of the previous Battle of the Belts have not always been, up to snuff, and having a main event like this, to me, really reinforces the concept that this is not a pay-per-view, but it's not just an episode of TV. So I'm really glad that they had it here. But Josh, what were your thoughts on this match? And Valaby, as they love to remind us, Takeshita practically has a PhD on German suplexes. He wrote his college thesis on it. But Josh, what were your thoughts on this match and the rise of Konosuke Takeshita?
I mean, the match was incredible, to be honest with you. Especially that, I think, what was it? Was it that final sequence? It was that sequence where, they were pretty much, I don't want to say no selling, but they were one-upping each other every time one person did another move. I thought that was a great sequence as well. But the match was it was great. This guy climbing up the rankings, I mean, I know he's working per appearance, he's so you're not gonna really see him win big matches, unfortunately, just because of that, because you're going by whatever, you're pretty much going with the hot hand. You're going with how long you could pretty much use him for in regards to his booking, his situation, if he ends up going back to Japan or not, So I think they're using him as much as possible. And I think he's really showcasing himself. I think even since the first match, right? I think his first match was against Hangman, and I know a lot of people complained, "Oh, why is Hangman wrestling this guy this long?" Now you see why. You kind of see why, and I think it's a good way to showcase talent that's in Japan, where it's either DDT, it's either New Japan, Noah. I think it's a good showcase for like what Japanese wrestling represents and what they could showcase.
Yeah, it's a great way to build on those partnerships. And of course, Sid saying the first match was against Lethal on Rampage. Yeah, the Hangman match was fire. Yeah, a lot of people have been questioning why Takeshita is getting this push. And to your point, this is a match that absolutely shows why, because he's going to be able to put on clinics when it comes to how to sell, how to show that fighting spirit, and it's going to help build partnerships and forge stronger roads with DDT. And I'm glad that he's here. I'm going to be really sad when he's gone. Nick Jackson saying, what a banger between Claudio and Takeshita. Probably the best Battle of the Belts special to me. Rosa versus Hayter was good too. Yeah, this was just top to bottom a really well done show. It all the matches kind of flowed very well. They didn't have any promo segments to kind of break it up, but I think despite that, it still worked very well. I'm going to go with MK saying, I see Takeshita coming back from from Japan and challenging Samoa Joe for the ROH TV title or even pure title versus Yuta. That's where he gets his big win and title. Yeah, I could see that as well. He could be somebody who comes back periodically over the course of time and really builds upon what he has already built here in AEW.
Or like if you want to guarantee him a spot, he could have like one of those special contracts where he signs with AEW and then he's still allowed, even though technically people are still allowed to work other places, other promotions, but I think his contract should be like pretty unique that he's allowed to do like both or multiple shows. Yeah. And I think because he's become that guy that's become reliable, not only in Japan, but clearly in the United States as well now, that every opportunity he's gotten, he's taken. So I think you got to bank on that.
Chase saying, this honestly one of my favorite matches of the year. Takeshita became a fan favorite for me. I'm glad I was exposed to him as I don't normally watch DDT. And that's exactly why they're doing things like this, to build on the partnership with DDT, help get eyeballs on DDT, and help get DDT eyeballs on AEW. But Josh, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel? Yeah, that's almost basically where I was going. Sid saying Claudio reversing the knee strike into the DVD was incredible. Where do you see Claudio going from here? And if you had to pick somebody to get into a program with Claudio for that ROH World Championship, who would you really want to see get in the ring with him and mix it up?
That's a good question. I wouldn't mind seeing Daniel Garcia. I think that would be a good matchup. Even though he lost the pure title, so it'd be kind of weird that he lost the pure title, the title match, and then he gets a world title match. So that would be like a little weird, but I wouldn't mind seeing that. As in, for the ROH title, I wouldn't mind them bringing somebody else in. I guess it depends on who's available. Just to build off on that, because I think that's where when it comes to the buildup of him being a champion. And also, like his opponents, I think that's where they need to focus on as well. Because, like, the whole thing with Gresham and Claudio, there was pretty much no build-up to that.
Right.
And I think that was kind of the problem when it comes to everything. Maybe that was part of his issue, Gresham's issue as well, because it was kind of like not really taken seriously. So, I don't know, man. Whoever it is, I just hope it's a good build-up, and I just want to see how it goes. The course, I want to see how the course goes to see like what they do with that, who's going to be his next opponent, and how they pretty much stir the wheel with that.
One person I would love to see get in the ring with Cesaro. It can be a non-title match, it can be a title match, whatever. Is Darby Allin, because I feel as though Darby complements Cesaro's strengths very, very well.
But you trying to have Darby die in the ring?
I mean, look, I just have this fun visual in my head of Darby going for a coffin drop and taking an uppercut to the back of his head. And you see that? I mean, Darby has done a lot of crazy shit, but I'm like, Claudio's a different animal. I'm like, I think Claudio will actually kill him. That's what I'm afraid of. like it says on his tattoo, it ain't over until you're underground, and Claudio may well put him underground. Somebody else I think would be really fun would be Malachi. Malachi going off against Claudio, I think would be a fun match as well. But there's so many options to see.
Yeah, the only reason why, that'd be cool. It's just the problem with that, because I saw somebody else said Miro, which that'd be a fun matchup too. The only problem with that is that they kind of both have a storyline already.
Yeah,
and it's very obvious that Miro's going after Black. So I think you probably have to finish that first before.
I'm just saying like
from that.
Yeah, I'm just saying like in general.
I know. I know. I know what everyone means. Like, I think that those would be fun matchups regardless. It's just one of those things. Like, if we're talking about his next opponent, that has to be done first. Yeah.
Like, I don't know who that next opponent's going to be. It's going to be really, really fun to watch, and it really makes me wish that Tony could just figure out where the hell Ring of Honor is going to be weekly, because we need to have these kinds of matches on television, whether it's TNT, TBS, whoever, like whether it's just on Fight, I don't know, but like ROH was for a very long time. He's got to have some announcement soon about what's going to happen with Ring of Honor. And Sid saying, "Give me Claudio versus Dax." Yeah, that would be another really, really great match.
That actually would be fun. I actually like that matchup. That's actually that's a very good matchup because it kind of makes sense. Claudio needs a new opponent. Dax is on his roll with his tag team partner. He's had a strong singles run, and he's not really anything story-wise, single-wise. So I think that actually would be pretty cool to see that one.
And it would feed into the ending of Death Before Dishonor, where Claudio and Yuta came out to hold up their title belts while FTR were in the ring as well.
Yeah, so that was actually I was actually about to point that out as well, like the ending. So that actually would be a fun matchup. That would be a fun matchup.
MK is saying give Takeshita versus Pac for All Atlantic title down the road, maybe at Full Gear at a DDT show. Yeah, Pac is doing some crazy good work defending that All Atlantic title, and it's something a lot nicer for me to watch on AEW Dark every week.
No, it's not only that. And I think that was the purpose of that title. So I actually love the concept of it. So like, with people complaining about like, oh, they're having too many belts and all this stuff. I'm like, this is kind of easy way to branch out, especially with Pac, where he kind of has those periods of times where he stays in Europe for a while, then comes back to the United States. So this works out for him. It works out for both sides. That he still has a job, and he's a current, he's a defending champion over there representing AEW. So it works out both ways.
I am hoping that Pac returns sooner rather than later to regular AEW television, because I'd love to see Death Triangle in that trios tournament. And Romeo, our favorite Cinnabon manager, saying you can do BCC versus Punk FTR. Yes, that will be. That is probably something that Tony has not penciled, but in pen for down the road, because that will be an incredible match, feud. Just, fucking Phil has to figure out how to walk again. God damn it. Just shoot cortisone or something. I don't know. But guys, we want to thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Rampage Wrap-Up number 7, where we covered an episode of Rampage Battle of the Belts 3. Ring of Honor AEW seems to be continuing to build momentum, build steam as they move towards All Out, and that's what we are doing here as well on the True Heel Heat channel. We are continuing to build momentum, not towards All Out, but towards everything, everywhere, all at once, just like the movie. But we are continuing to grow the channel, and we want to thank you guys for tuning in. And if it's your first time tuning in, join the ride. There's plenty of room. There's plenty of room on this bus, on this train. Planes, trains, automobiles. I'm just doing movie references now. But you guys can follow us on Twitch. You can follow us on YouTube. You can join our Patreon, $3 a month, the entry-level tier. You can follow THH Sports, where we talk about football, baseball, basketball, everything under the sun. There's so many ways that you guys can interact with us, and we appreciate all of the support that we get from you guys. Josh, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me JMPunk321, Twitter and Instagram, mostly Instagram. Every Mondays, Radio Raw Superstars. Every Wednesday, Elite Heat. And on the weekends, on the Twitch channel for Rampage Rap-Up with you, StatKing.
Yeah, and you guys can catch me here on Rampage Wrap-Up and on Dark Power, where I cover AEW Dark, Elevation, and NWA Power. We're moving towards NWA 74, and like I said, we're getting PAC title defenses on AEW Dark. So there's not a lot to complain about, but don't worry, I'm still going to find a way to do it on Dark Power because Billy Corgan's an absolute insane man. But until next time, guys, we want to thank you for tuning in. Remember, take care of yourselves and each other, and we will catch you guys later.